Hello, this is Andrew Wilson here from Silent 7 Games to show you a gameplay video of Quest Awakening of Melior. This is a prototype I had printed at drivethroughcards.com, and if you're watching this video, it's probably for sale from there right now. So what I want to do is just show you how to play if the rules are confusing or you don't feel like reading them, or if you just want to see how the game plays out. Today I'll be using the character Zebra Melior, whom I recommend if you are playing your first game. You can see she has combat of star, which means her level. She starts at level 1, so combat of 1. Survival is the same, and intellect is the same except +1. I currently have cat stretched out across the game, but we'll work around that. She has an ability which says Quest, Destiny, Attain level 7. That means she has, most characters do not have a quest ability, but the only way to win the game is by completing a quest. So she starts with an advantage that she could just win the game without requiring another quest, which you will find in the event deck later on. And then the last part, you see the dice symbols and the 3 and the colors. The 4, 5, 6 means if you use a 4, a 5, and a 6 rolled on your dice to complete that combo, she will get +3 to her combat, survival, and intellect. Over here, there's the XP pile. As we gain experience points, that will fill up. We have active event spots, which just for the purposes of this playmat, I created this zone. Really, there's no limit. Here you see 5 spots, but there's event discard, and hit point, character level, and stage tracker start with 6 hit points, 1 character level, and on stage 1 is the level. And here is the encounter deck, and then I've dealt out the first stage already, and you can see the 3 different card backs, and they're all shuffled into the one encounter deck, but that's okay. Just when you shuffle and deal, just don't put any bias into how you deal them out. Or, you know, it's a one-player game, so if you want to put bias into it and cheat, no one's watching but you. Here is the Shadow Caves, the Meltwood, and Glowmount. So the first thing you want to do, after you've dealt out stage 1, is draw an event card from the event deck. And this game is not stacked. I've shuffled and I'm playing randomly. In fact, this is the second game I have played with the prototype, the printed prototype. So it's kind of exciting for me. I've played a ton of games with printouts and stuff, but this one is the first one, or the second one with the prototype. The event we've drawn is Pleasant Memories. It says, whenever I enter a Shadow Caves encounter, I regain 1 hit point, and it's a boon. It says Persistent Event Boon. So Persistent Event means it will stay in this row. Boon means I can only have 3 boons at a time, but I only have 1, so that's not a problem. And now that we've run our event card, we can enter an encounter. The first encounter you enter is this one, whichever one you've dealt into this position here. And that's an interesting start with the Shadow Dragon. There's only 1 Shadow Dragon in the whole deck, and here it is. So before I start explaining everything, you need to roll 5 6-sided dice when you face an encounter. So here we go. So the Shadow Dragon has an ability that says 2, get +1 combat, survival, and intellect, and we've rolled a 2, so I'm just going to put that here. Zebra needs 4, 5, 6 for her combo. We have a 4 and a 5. We did not get a 6. And we have additional 4s. But let's assess the situation. Now the Shadow Dragon has an ability that talks about whether we defeat it, but we're not in a position to defeat it right now, so we can ignore that. Its combat is 12, ours is 1, so that's not going to happen. Its intellect is 6, and ours is 2. That's probably not going to happen. Its survival is 1 and ours is 1, except that it's completed this combo with its 2, which gives it an additional point of survival. So it has 2 survival to our 1, which means if we're going to defeat it with anything, it's probably going to be survival, and for that we'll need to complete our combo, which we have not. Now we can reroll. To reroll, you just take all of the unlocked dice and reroll them. In that case, it's these 2 4s. We got a 6 and a 3. A 2 would be bad for us because that would make the dragon harder to defeat. Our 6 means we can lock it in here, choose not to reroll our remaining 3, complete our combo, bringing us up to 4 survival, which beats the Shadow Dragon survival up 2, and we defeat it. Now normally we would take the encounter that we defeated and put it into the XP pile. In this case, however, the Shadow Dragon has an XP symbol, which means we're instead going to take an XP token card and put that into our XP pile. There are only 2 cards in the deck that have that icon, and they represent like the tougher, more legendary encounters you'll face. And like I said, it's a strange happenstance that we faced the Shadow Dragon, but we did earn our experience point token, and now the ability is relevant. If you defeat Shadow Dragon with survival or intellect, you escape for now, but it pursues you and becomes a persistent event with you must enter Shadow Caves encounters if you can. When you enter another encounter type, return this to the encounter deck. When a Shadow Caves encounter defeats you, face this again. So this becomes a persistent event. Put it in the persistent events row. And we're ready for the second encounter. Now before the encounter, we draw an event. In this case, we got Rain Fruit. It gives us an additional combo, 4s, we can use to regain 1 hit point. It is also a boon, so we now have 2 boons, which is fine. And we haven't lost any hit points, so this wasn't relevant on our previous encounter. And now the Shadow Dragon is telling us we have to enter Shadow Caves encounter if we can. However, we have 3 choices. The way the stage was dealt out, there are 2 Meltwood and 1 Glowmount encounter as our options, meaning we do not have a Shadow Caves encounter as an option, and the Shadow Dragon can't force us to enter an encounter that doesn't exist. So we get to choose any one of these 3. As far as we can tell, these 2 are the same. That one's different. I'm just going to stick down the middle here for no reason and choose this one. Now, the Shadow Dragon says, when you enter another encounter type, return this to the encounter deck. So, take this and return it to the encounter deck. And we're going to face the Bear of Squirrels now, which we're lucky here that we've hit 2 encounters that have art in a row. Most of them do not for this playtest edition. Now that we've selected our encounter, we're going to create a new, smaller pyramid by clearing away the unused encounters. For a stage, we're going to do 1 encounter in the first row, which we did, 1 encounter in the second row, which we're doing now, 1 encounter in the third row, and then 1 in the fourth row. And in each case, you have to choose one of the 3 that was behind the one you just completed. So after we complete the Bear of Squirrels, we're either going to face this one, or this one, which makes this one, this one, this one, this one, this one, and this one essentially useless. We're not going to be going to those encounters on this stage, so we're just clear it out and create a new, smaller pyramid with the Bear of Squirrels at the pinnacle. And now we can face the Bear of Squirrels by rolling our 5 6-sided dice. In this case, the Bear of Squirrels has Combat of Star, which is 1, and Survival of Star times 2, which is 2. And a 1 combo gives it +1 combat. We did not roll a 1. We did get a 4 and a 5, which we can use toward our combo. And 2, 2, and 3, which don't do anything. So we can't beat it right now. We could tie it with combat, as it has a 1 and we have a 1. In that case, we would defeat it and put it into our XP pile, but we'd also take 1 damage. So it doesn't seem too risky here to just go ahead and reroll. To do that, we have to reroll all the unlocked dice. There you go. We got a 6, a 4, and another 6. If we wanted, we could use this again to regain hit points, which doesn't do anything because we have our full 6 hit points. We've completed our combo, giving us 4 combat, 4 survival, and 5 intellect, which is plenty to defeat the bear with either combat or survival, though we cannot defeat it with intellect because it does not have an intellect score to begin with. We take the bear of squirrels and put it into our XP pile. And we're ready for the third encounter. To start out, we draw an event. You can tell by the coloration that this is a bad one. This is the Crystal Curse. Whenever a Glowmount encounter defeats you, put a curse counter on Crystal Curse, and if it already had a curse counter on it, you become a Crystal Knight and lose the game. And normally that would mean maybe I wanted to avoid Glowmount encounters, but because we faced that one, our only 3 options here are Glowmount encounters. So I'm going to go here, because that will give us Shadow Caves as our next option, or we could go here to give us Meltwood as our next option, but I'm in the mood for Shadow Caves, so I'm going to move in this direction, clear out these excess encounters, and we're going to be facing the crystallized camp. It has a 7 combat, and survival of its level plus 2, which is 3. So let's roll our 5 six-sided dice. 4, 6, 6, 3, and another 3. 4 and 6 we can put toward our combo. 5, we need a 5 to complete it, but 2s would be bad. We can't defeat it now because its combat is really high, and its survival is 3 while ours is only 1, so we really need a 5 here. And the only thing bad that could happen is if we rolled 3 2s, which would says look out, spot you, you can't defeat this encounter with survival, which would leave just combat, which is really high. So let's just not roll 3 2s, and let's try to roll a 5. We got 1 2, which does lock into its combo, which means we cannot re-roll that 2 now. And we didn't get a 5, but we can re-roll any number of times. We can't re-roll that 2 now, but we can still re-roll this 3 and 4 to try to get a 5. Here we got another 2, so that's bad. There's no reason not to just roll again though at this point and try to hit our 5. Now it's interesting, this point, the only 2 die results that will be relevant here are 5 or 2. 2 means it will lock in and complete that combo and we won't have any dice left to roll. A 5 means we complete our combo and we stop rolling. So rather than just roll over and over again until we either get a 2 or a 5, I'm going to use the shortcut rule and say that 1, 2, or 3 will be 2, and 6, 5, or 4 will be a 5. We got a 3, which means it's a 2, which means the crystallized camp completes its combo. Look out, spot us. We can't use survival skills. We have to fight the crystallized encampment, which is really tough at 7. And we take damage equal to its combat, its highest score minus, or the largest difference between one of its scores and ours, which is in this case is its 7 minus our 1. We would take 6 damage, which would kill us, but you can't take more damage than the current stage level. And since we're on stage level 1, we can't take more than 1 damage at a time. So we do take 1 damage and go down to 5. Now, we have this boon event that we did have a 4, and we had the 6, and you don't, once you lock in a beneficial combo, you can unlock it. So we could have unlocked this 4 and locked it in over here instead in order to regain 1 health. So since the combos resolve at the same time and gives the crystallized camp its ability and us 1 hit point simultaneously, that's before the stats are checked to see who won the encounter. And so we actually regain the hit point before the crystallized camp defeats us. So locking this combo wouldn't actually help us because we would try to get to above our maximum hit points before we took any damage. So we are at 5 hit points. We were defeated by the crystallized camp. So normally what that means is you just put it back into the encounter deck. Now, I just stacked them on top with the Shadow Dragon, but we're just going to shuffle it in a minute when we deal out stage 2. The other problem is we just drew this Crystallized Curse persistent event, which means it gains a curse counter. And if we get defeated by another Glowmount encounter, that'll be the end. So let's go to our 4th encounter, the last one on stage 1, and start by drawing our event. This says, for each Glowmount XP you have, roll a d6. 1, 2, or 3, if it was right side up, turn it upside down, and if it was upside down, turn it right side up. Now, right side up and upside down XP cards don't do anything intrinsically, but the Glowmount specifically track that because of other cards that reference it. Basically, if you defeated a Glowmount encounter with combat, word spreads. People know that you beat up Glowmount people, which is fine if that's what you want. And there's a quest that says, if you defeat a bunch of them, you win the game. On the other hand, there's a quest that says, if you defeat them with intellect, that is to say, you make friends, in this case, you can win the game that way also. So against Glowmount, you kind of want to choose one way or the other, and this event, the Unfounded Rumors, can really mess that up for you. But right now we have 0 Glowmount encounters in our XP, so this doesn't do anything. It's not a persistent event, unlike the first 3 we've drawn this game, so it just goes straight into the event discard. And we can enter one of these 3 encounters. I'm going to avoid the Glowmount because it could kill us with the Crystal Curse, so let's just take the middle Shadow Caves. Technically it is here, I guess, or here. It doesn't really matter once you get this far, so I'm just going to put it down and roll my 5 6-sided dice. So this encounter uses 2s and 3s for its combo. We did get a 3, and another 3, but no 2. And while you can complete a combo more than once, including the encounters can complete their combos more than once, they can't start working on the second instance of the combo until they've completed the first one. So this is another 3, and this is another 3, but they don't all lock in here. However, if this one had been a 2, it would have completed that instance of the combo and could start working on the second instance with this 3, in which case all of these dice would become locked, which would be really bad for us. But instead, we just have a bunch of 3s, and these do not lock. And we have a 5 and a 6. The Cryptic Pathways says we get +1 survival and +1 intellect for each Cryptic Pathways in our XP, which is none, so that doesn't help us. And we must enter Shadow Caves encounter next if able, but since this is the end of the stage, that won't be relevant either. So it has 2 survival, 1 plus its level of 1, and same with intellect. So it's a 2 intellect, and we have a 2 intellect, so again we could tie, or roll more dice. All we need is a 4, which would bring us up to 5 intellect, but all it needs is a 2 to bring it up to 4 intellect. And we have 2 dice. So I'm just going to go ahead and roll. Why not? We got a 1 and a 5, neither of which is relevant. So let's just roll again. Here's a 2 and a 5. So that did complete the Cryptic Pathways combo, and we have 1 die remaining. We really need a 4. We can't use the shortcut rule because 2 or a 3 would be bad for us, allowing the Cryptic Pathways to work toward completing its second instance of the combo, even though it won't be able to actually complete it because there's only 1 die remaining. But we really need a 4 and not a 2 or a 3 here, otherwise we're going to take another point of damage. We got a 6. That doesn't help. That's a 4. That's exactly what we needed. We only had a 1 and 3 shot there, but we got it. Brings us up to 5 intellect versus the Cryptic Pathways 4 intellect. And we get to put it in our XP pile. Now, an additional relevant thing is that you can, at any time, turn 3 cards in your XP pile face down, which is different than upside down, relevant for the Glowmount, but upside down, in order to gain 1 level. So, we gain 1 level. And now, we're going to stage 2, which means the stage goes up by 1 as well, and we're now on stage 2. I'm going to pause it while I shuffle the encounter deck and deal out stage 2. Alright, stage 2 has been dealt, and I realized one thing I missed is that when we entered our cryptic pathways just now, we missed Pleasant Memories, which says whenever we enter a Shadow Caves encounter, we regain a hit point. So let's get our hit point back. And we're about to enter the Shadow Caves encounter. Although Cryptic Pathways said we had to enter a Shadow Caves encounter next, it was random that it was dealt here, so that was not related. And let's draw an event. We got Tenacious Foe. You must defeat the encounter with all of its statistics instead of just one or another. And let's see. We're facing the Agony Bats, which have combat equal to their level, up to 2, and intellect equal to their level times 2, which is 4. It's kind of scary, but not too scary, because if Zebra completes her combo, she'll have 5 or 6 intellect, which is plenty. Let's just make sure we roll our combo and don't just roll a bunch of 1s, which would be the Agony Bats combo. Okay, we got a 6, a bunch of 3s, and another 6. Extra 6 doesn't do anything, 3s don't do anything, so let's roll again. Here's a 1. That's bad. That gives the Agony Bats an additional point of combat, although if we complete our combo, that shouldn't be a problem. And we also got a 4 and a 5, which does complete our combo. So now we have kind of an interesting position where our combat score is 5, which is greater than the bats of 3. And if we roll if we reroll this 2 and get another 1, the bats will still only have 4 combat, whereas we have 5. Its intellect is 4 and is not raised by the combo, and since we have 6 intellect, that's not an issue. So there's no reason there wouldn't normally be a reason to re-roll this anymore because we just win. But we could roll a 4 in order to complete this combo and regain a hit point. We have 6 already, so there's no point. We defeat the Agony Bats. The Agony Bats goes to our XP pile. This event is not persistent, so I'm just going to put it into the event discard. It had its time, and we're ready for the second encounter of the stage. Start by drawing an event. We got our third boon, Crystal Sword. Gives us an additional combo that helps us with our combat. 4 gives us +1. Now we have 1, 2, 3 boons, which is all we're allowed to have. So we're fine now, but if we draw an additional 1, we'll have to shuffle one of them back into the event deck. Now we get to choose, do we want to face this Glowmount encounter, this Meltwood encounter, or that Glowmount encounter. Since I'm avoiding Glowmount because of my Crystal Curse, we're going to go to the middle. And there's another Bear of Squirrels. Alright, let's roll. Well, there's a 1 to complete the Bear's combat. Got a 4 and a 5 for our combo. And we have a 3 and a 5. So let's see, its combat is currently a 3 and ours is 2. Its survival is 4 and ours is 2. So we do need to complete our combo in order to win. We got a 6 and a 3. The 6 completes our combo. And we can defeat the Bear of Squirrels, putting it into our XP pile. Let's see. Guess we could have used that 4 for our Crystal Sword, which would have given us 3 combat compared to its 3 combat. But that would have been a tie, so I still would have re-rolled there, even if I'd realized that at the time. Let's draw an event and go to our next. Alright, this is new supplies. Whenever you defeat a Glowmount encounter, you regain 2 hit points. Now I'll note that we're drawing a surprisingly large number of positive events this game. You can tell by the coloration, green with white indicates a really good event, yellow with red indicates a really bad event, and yellow indicates a kind of bad event. and green indicates a kind of good event. And the color coordination is not exact, but if you want to kind of get a better idea of how these are being balanced, look at the numbers in the bottom right. Yellow with red is a -2. This is a +1 for green, +2 on the green with white. And the colors don't always line up with the numbers, but the numbers are what you want to be looking at for that. And the only way that's relevant is just for fun right now, but in the future, if there are more expansions for the game, you'll be able to build your own event deck, and the baseline will be you want your event deck to add up to 0. So the event deck I'm playing with right now does add up to 0, so the fact that I've drawn all of these +2s indicates a good thing for me. Now, back to the new supplies, which gives us 2 hit points whenever we enter a Glowmount encounter. As I mentioned before, we can only have 3 boons. We have 4 now, so we need to shuffle 1 back in. And I'm going to choose the new supplies, because I just don't want to be entering Glowmount encounters at all because of my Crystal Curse. So if I had another free hand, I would shuffle this in. I'm just going to put it off to the side. Normally you'd shuffle it in because that means you get to draw it again, potentially, if you want it later on in the game, or just to avoid drawing negative events. But I'm actually just going to discard it right now, because whatever. And now we choose one of these 3 encounters to enter. Do we want to fight the Shadow Caves or one of the 2 Meltwood, or is there anything in the back row we want to be moving toward? For example, if we wanted to be moving toward this one, we would have to go here. If we wanted to go here, we would have to go here now. I'm just going to choose, I'll choose this Shadow Caves. And we're facing another Agony Bats. Alright. Now each encounter type has 5 different encounters within it, and they show up in different frequencies. And there are a lot of Agony Bats and I think 3 Bear of Squirrels. And the Bear of Squirrels and Agony Bats happen to be pretty similar to one another in that they both are primarily combat based and then have a kind of hard to beat second statistic with the ×2. It's easier at lower levels but much harder at higher levels. So the Agony Bats are getting +1 combat for a total of 3. We're getting nothing until we get a 4. Even if we want to use our Crystal Sword, we would need a 4 for that. So let's roll our 2 and our 6. There's another one, which brings the Agony Bats combat up to 4, and our 4 though, which completes our combo and brings our combat up to 5. So we beat the Agony Bats, put it into our XP pile, and that is 3. So we can level up again. One thing I didn't point out is that these 2 Agony Bats are different. If you look at the bottom, you can see the numbering. This is card number 3 of 14 of Shadow Caves encounters. This one is 1 of 14. So even though they're both Agony Bats, they are different. And this one has a treasure, which is 3 visions. Activate this to reveal 3 Shadow Caves encounters on this stage. Now to activate a treasure, you can turn it face down in exchange for a face down XP that does not have a treasure on it. Or when you level up with it, you can activate it then, as long as it's at a time when the treasure would allow you to. For example, some treasures say activate it during an encounter or between encounters. So if you were to level up at a time other than when the treasure allowed you to activate it, you would not be able to use the treasure at that time, and it would basically be lost. So to use this one, we get to reveal Shadow Caves encounters, which can help us if we want to go toward one or not another. So instead of leveling up right now, I'm going to not level up and hold on to that until I've dealt out the next stage. If I need to, I'll just level up in the middle of the next encounter, which I can do, but that would cause me to lose the benefit of my treasure. So let's go to the 4th and final encounter, first by drawing an event. Here's Precognition. It is another boon, and this one you can see has this starburst symbol, which is not for the final version, but for this playtest I included a symbol on all 5 of zebras, character-specific event cards. When you choose your character, you get the character card, but you also get the character's 5 specific events shuffled into the event deck. Over here, you see the other character crawls. He can turn into a dinosaur, and he has his 5 characters specific events here, and they have this dinosaur footprint icon on them. So if you were to switch characters, you take out all of the starburst icons from the event deck and replace them with Crawls' 5 lizard footprint icon event cards. But here again we have a 4th boon, so we have to get rid of one. I'm going to get rid of the crystal sword. It's good, but not that good. We haven't been losing hit points really, but that's basically the way you lose the game. So if we can keep these 2 boons around in order to regain them if we do start losing any, that would be good. Yeah, I will note we've had a pretty good game so far. And Precognition says whenever we defeat an encounter with intellect, we get to look at the top card of the event deck and we may put it on the bottom, which is a pretty handy ability. So let's choose one of these 3. Now I'm going to choose Shadow Caves because Shadow Caves has the most intellect encounters, and maybe second or maybe close to Glowmount in number of intellect, but we're avoiding Glowmount as much as we can, and intellect encounters will allow us to use Precognition. So we're going to go to the Shadow Caves, and here's another Cryptic Pathways. It says we get +1 survival and +1 intellect for each one in our XP, which this time is relevant. So we start out with 3 survival and a 4 intellect, compared to the Cryptic Pathways, 3 survival and 3 intellect. So that's pretty good bonus. So we could just defeat it with intellect right now, except you do have to roll all 5 dice. We got a 2, 1, 1, 5, and 3. So if we hadn't gotten 2, 3, we could have just ignored combos, basically, this encounter, and just beaten it with that bonus it gave us. Unfortunately, it completed its combo, and we didn't. Now I'll note this box off to the side here that says level 4+, +3 survival intellect, and that applies when you're on stage level 4 or higher. Since we're on stage 2, we just use this smaller +2 bonus. And so we really need to complete our combo, and all we have is a 5. So let's hope these are 4, 6 and not 2, 3. There's 3 and 6. We get the 6, but the 3 goes here. It gets to start working toward its second instance of the combo, even though we won't let it complete it because we're not going to roll dice anymore. But we do fail the encounter. Let's see, it gets +2, so it has 5 intellect and 5 survival. And our survival is only 3, so we take 2 damage. And the stage value is 2, so we can take both of that, and we have to go down to 4. And that puts this back into the encounter deck. I guess I could have leveled up in the middle of that, which would raise my survival score and my intellect score. Kind of backtracking here. Let's see, my intellect was 4, but it was 5. So we could level up in the middle of that to take 1 less damage. But then we don't get to use the treasure, and for the sake of not backtracking, and because I have these 2 health regaining encounter events, and because I want to use my treasure, I'm not going to backtrack. So we're down to 4 hit points. We have our treasure still get to level up, and we have these things that are going to let us regain some health. So I'm going to shuffle up the encounter deck, deal out stage 3, and I'll be back in a second. So I've dealt out stage 3, and I already revealed 3 Shadow Caves encounters. They were all in the back row, other than this one up here. So there's no point revealing this one because we have to enter it no matter what. So I revealed the back 3 already. We have a Psychic Gloom, cryptic pathways, and lost souls. And that means I need to level up using the treasure as I do so, which I've already done. Puts us at level 3. And we're ready for the first encounter here by drawing an event. Got Stroke of Luck. After I roll my initial roll, I get to add a d6 on any value. So let's see what we end up needing. Here is Lost Souls. If Lost Souls defeats and kills you, you become a Lost Soul and lose the game. Now, normally, if something defeats and kills you, you lost the game anyway. If there happened to be a Phoenix type of Rise from the Dead type of power, it might allow you to not lose the game even when you die. Well, none of that exists, but if it did, Lost Souls would stop that from working. As it is, you can basically ignore that for now, but, you know, future compatibility and all that. So it has a combat of its level +1. Its level is now 3, so that's a 4 combat. Our combat is our level, which is also 3, so it does have a leg up on us, and if we roll 1s, it gets bad. Again, this second combo is in a level 4+ box, which means it doesn't apply right now, but 1s will give it +1 combat. And we got a 1, a bunch of 3s, which don't do anything. We get to add a die on the value of our choice from the Stroke of Luck. We don't have anything for our combo, which we do need to complete. But I guess I'm just going to choose 4, because if all else fails, we can at least apply the 4 to the Rain Fruit. And let's reroll all these 3s. No more 1s, that's good. Got a 5, that's good. 2 4s. And I'm going to complete this combo twice. Like I said, you can unlock dice from beneficial combos. So if we need to, we can take that out later. And then we have this 3 left over, which we'll re-roll. The only values that matter are 1 or 6. 4 could matter, but I'm going to choose that it doesn't, because it's a beneficial. I can choose that. So either 1 or 6, which means we're going to use the shortcut rule, meaning 1 is a 1. And now we still need a 6. So its combat is 3, 4, 5, 6, and ours is 3. So even if we complete our combo, it will just be a tie. But we really do want to complete the combo. So let's unlock one of these 4s and hope for a 6 here. I guess we'll shortcut it again. And that's really bad. So this means we cannot defeat it or even tie, even from completing our combo, but if we do complete our combo, we at least take less damage. Because we're on stage 3, we could take up to 3 damage. Right now, it's at 7 combat versus our 3, so we take 4 damage, but we can't take more than 3 because we're on stage level 3. So I could just put both the 4s here, regain 2 hit points up to 6, and then take the 3 damage and go down to 3. Or hope for the 6, take 1 damage, and not complete the Rain Fruit combo. But that requires us getting a 6, and we still end up at 3 hit points. So let's just do Rain Fruit twice, going up to 6, and then take our 3 damage and go down to 3 hit points. Put this back over here. Lost Souls defeated us, but it didn't kill us. Stroke of Luck did not help. And draw the next event. This is Cavern Discovery. It's a persistent event quest. We can either defeat the Shadow Dragon with combat, remember it had a 12, so that's kind of crazy, or defeat it with survival or intellect, and then escape. We fought it before, we defeated it with survival, and we escaped. If we had had this quest at that point, we would have won the game right then. First encounter of the game, if we had drawn this, we would have won. But instead we drew it now. Shadow Dragon is somewhere back in the deck, although we know it's not on this stage because we've already revealed all of the Shadow Caves encounters. But that's how you win the game, is get a quest and complete it. So we can either do something with Shadow Dragon, or we still have this fallback plan of a chain level 7. So this is not a boon, although it is beneficial, so it's just going to stay in play. And we can go to the next encounter. Meltwood, Glowmount, or Glowmount. Now if we go to this Meltwood, our next 3 options will be Glowmount, Glowmount, or Glowmount. So we're going to have to face a Glowmount encounter either way. Or we could go to this Glowmount and then this Meltwood, or this Glowmount and then this Meltwood. And then we've got options of Meltwood and Shadow Caves and stuff in the back row. I'm going to try to go to the Cryptic Pathways, because even though we lost to the last one we faced, we do have one in our XP which can help us defeat them, and each one helps us defeat the ones in the future. Or, for the sake of diversity, I could move toward this Psychic Gloom. So, yeah, let's just move toward the Psychic Gloom, put off facing a Glowmount encounter, and face this Meltwood encounter. Clearing out the excess. Bumping my hit points. Alright, we are facing the Flintmeld Saurian. Now this one, its combo is 2, which gives it plus star survival. It starts with a 0 survival, so that's pretty easy to defeat. But if you roll a 2, it's going to get plus 3. If we roll two twos, it's going to get plus 6. So let's just not roll 2s. That'll be the plan. There's 1 2, which gives it a 3 survival, and a lot of 6s, which does not much good for us. So at this point we are tied in survival. It has a 3, and we have a 3. If we roll another 2, it jumps immediately up to 6, and we have to get a 4 and a 5 to beat our combo. So in this case I do think it's a much safer bet to just take the tie, because if it goes to 6 and we can't finish our combo, we just die, because we only have 3 hit points left. So let's take the tie here. We could try to roll 4s, but man, I missed another Pleasant Memories trigger. We did, our encounter before this one was Shadow Caves, so we actually should be, actually no, we should not be. No, we should be 1 higher. No, darn, back and forth, because we were at 4, we gained 2 to 6, and then we lost 3, so even if we had been at 5 and gained 2, it maxes at 6, and then we still would have taken 3, so I missed that trigger, but it wouldn't have mattered. So we're going to take our 1 damage, go down to 2 hit points. Flintmeld Saurian defeats us, goes back over here. And let's draw an event, and stop losing encounters. Here we got Taking Sides. There's another quest. Just drawing a lot of green events today. It's still losing. So this is the one I was talking about. We can either earn the favor of the Glowmount by having 5 right side up encounters in our XP, or 5 more Glowmount right side up encounters than we have upside down, or we can become the destroyer of the cursed by killing all of the Glowmount people we face and have 5 more upside down Glowmount encounters in your XP than right side up. Right now I'm pretty sure we have 0 period Glowmount encounters. But this quest basically says, pick a side, and you win the game for picking a side and sticking to it. I'm still going to avoid as many Glowmount encounters as I can. We could just lose the game right here if we fail this encounter, because the Crystal Curse will finish us off. Here's a Crystal Sorcerer. Has combat of its level, which is 3, and intellect of 4. And has the normal Glowmount text of turning upside down and whatnot, and at level 4 plus blah blah blah, because we're only at level 3, so let's roll. It takes 1s to give it plus 2 combat, bringing it immediately up to 5 combat, but still only 4 intellect, and that's good, and we have a 4, 5, and 6 to complete our combo, so that's really good. That brings us up to 7 intellect versus 4. So I think with Zebra the better idea is to, when taking sides, choose intellect. So I'm going to choose intellect. I am not going to turn the Crystal Sorcerer upside down in my XP. And I'm running out of batteries, but if we get 4 more face-up Glowmount encounters, we'll win the game. Let's finish out this stage and then I'll take a recharge break. Our next event is Teleport. as you reveal an encounter to enter it, if there are other encounters in the same row, you may discard teleport and that encounter to instead enter a different encounter in the same row. It is also a boon, so we need to discard or get rid of one. I'm gonna get rid of rain fruit this time. And then I'm gonna enter the psychic gloom. A psychic gloom will trigger present memories, giving us a hit point. And let's roll. We didn't get a 3, and we didn't complete our combo, but we do have +1 for 4 intellect versus its intellect of its level, which is 3, although it says we must reroll all loose dice. So let's, I guess, do that. Still no 3. It locks 5s, meaning even though it doesn't use them, we can't reroll them. But we didn't get any, and that's actually all we want right now is a 5. We have to reroll again. There's a 3. Which locks here, and a 5. So we did complete our combo. We still have to reroll this too. We got a 4, which we can use. We can lock here, even though we can't use it for anything. But that ends the encounter. We gain the Psychic Gloom into our XP. We only got 2 XP this stage, which is not so good, because we're going to go into the next stage, stage 4, still being at level 3. And I'll be back after my battery recharges. Alright, so I'm back here on stage 4, and we're ready to draw an event and enter this Meltwood encounter. We only have 2 XP, so we need 1 more in order to bring our level up to 4, so we'll be on par with the stage. And we draw the Dire Acorn. So this one, encounters you choose to enter must be Meltwood, and if you face a bear of squirrels, it gets +3 combat and survival, and is named Nut Rager. If it defeats you, you die. If you defeat it, discard Dire Acorn. And it's persistent through stage, so looks like as long as this sticks around and nothing else happens, we're going to have to go here, 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 here. And if any of those is a bear of squirrels, it becomes Nut Rager and might just kill us. Fortunately, we've already defeated 2 bear of squirrels, I think, so that'll reduce the chances of us running into one. Here is a Meltwolf pack. The Meltwolf pack says that we must defeat it with combat, survival, and intellect. It doesn't have any combos, but we can't reroll ones. Let's see. Got a 4 and a 5, 2, 3, and 5, which don't do anything. So we're on stage level 4, and it gets +1 to everything. So it has 5 and everything, whereas we have 3, 3, and 4. So we do need our 6. There's no reason not to roll since there's no negative combo we can hit. And as long as we're not rolling 1s, we can keep re-rolling them. And we're not getting 1s or 6s. There's a 6. Brings us up to 6, 6, and 7, which defeats the Meltwolf pack. And now we can level up. We don't have any treasures to worry about, so just go ahead and level up now. Oops, there's an accidental bear of squirrels. Do-do-do. Do-do-do. Very good. And now we're level 4 on stage 4. That's good. Let's do the next event. Here's a Glowmount Herald. Persistent through stage. Reveal all Glowmount encounters on this stage, and if you can enter a Glowmount encounter, you must. So this is an interesting interaction. We're going to reveal them. There's a Twisted Townsfolk. There is a crystallized camp. And Twisted Townsfolk and the Glowmount Prince. It's the other unique legendary one that has an XP token, so even when you defeat it, it goes back into the deck. So now we have the Glowmount Herald saying if we can enter a Glowmount encounter, we must. And the Dire Acorn that says encounters you choose to enter must be Meltwood. So that's interesting because they kind of interact with each other in that Glowmount Herald says if we can enter a Glowmount encounter, we must. So we don't get to choose anymore, which means Dire Acorn saying we have to, if we could choose, we have to choose Meltwood. That doesn't apply since we can't choose now. So we have to enter Glowmount. And in this case, we'll clear off these excess encounter cards to make a new pyramid. In that case, we have to enter this Glowmount Prince encounter. And his combat is equal to his level, and his intellect is equal to his level, so they're both 4s. He gets +1 combat and +2 intellect for each upside down Glowmount encounter in our XP. We only have 1 in our XP, and it's not upside down, so that's good. And when we defeat him, track whether it's with combat or intellect, and we defeat it with the same one for the 3rd time, we win the game. So, alright. So let's just not roll a 1 and a 3, because that's a pretty extreme combo. We got a 1, and we got a 3. So he gets +3, bringing him up to 7. So if we get 4, 5, 6 to complete our combo, we tie. Which is the best we can hope for, because if he beats us, that's our 2nd Crystal Curse, and we'll lose the game from the Crystal Curse. So let's make sure this 2 and a 4 turn into a 5 and a 6, and not a 1 or a 3. And we're going to make sure by rolling and being really lucky. There's a 1 and a 4. 1 is bad, 4 is irrelevant. That means we're not going to be able to complete our game, our combo, and we are going to die to this Crystal Prince, or the Glowmount Prince. He's going to deal us some damage. It might not kill us, I don't know, it doesn't matter. The Crystal Curse is going to get a 2nd counter and make us lose the game. Now, I did realize if I hadn't been recording, I might have been paying more attention to this, but I have Teleport, and Teleport would have, even though Glowmount Herald forced us to enter the Glowmount Prince to face it, Teleport could have allowed us to enter it and then teleport away and face a different encounter. So, if I'd been paying more attention, we would have just teleported and faced a different encounter. Now, I've already cleared out the excess encounters, so I'm not going to try to like put them back out and figure out which were the 2 in the row next to him or whatever. I think you've got a pretty good idea of how to play this game. I lost fair and square, forgot to teleport, but that is one of Zebra's abilities, and it's in the event deck. So, if you thought this game looked fun, you like card games, but sometimes don't have friends around, give this a shot. It is in playtest beta mode, whatever you want to call it. These cards say Quest Beta June 2013 on them, and you can get a copy of this game for really low profit margin on drivethroughcards.com right now, and I'm trying to earn enough money and get the word out to run a Kickstarter campaign that will be to get artwork for all the cards and to create a print run from a bigger printing press. The drive-through cards are great, but they are a little bit thin, and I'm hoping to find a little bit higher quality for that. So, and then I'd like the game to come in a box, full color box and everything. So, buy it, tell your friends, try it out. I'll probably try to have a black and white print and play version of the game as well at some point. So, look out for that. Thanks.